Hey, this is Cameron and welcome to the practice log. Alright, well, we got some stuff to do today, so let's go ahead and jump into it, shall we? I've been up pretty early this morning. I woke up at like 5 or so, and I filmed a couple of reaction videos. Now we're gonna film a practice log, because I need to practice. Yeah, and there's a lot of stuff to work on. I started the Chaconne, so I'll probably work on that, along with the Morel Sonatina. I don't know how long it'll be until you see those reaction videos, but I did one that was like, things I wish I knew as a beginner guitarist, like that I learned now. And I was just generally like criticizing the video, because they weren't a classical player, so I just automatically don't respect it, because that's just who I am. That's what we are. We perpetuate the elitism of classical music here because, you know, I feel like it's kind of in fashion to not perpetuate it. So let's go against the grain and be exclusionary. Why not? No, I'm just kidding, of course. It's all jokes. It's not good to be that way. I do always start my students off with classical, and I sort of just tell them, like, even if I have to lie to them, it's just like, yeah, it's gonna help you with whatever genre that you want to play. And not that most modern guitar students who are children have, like, a genre even in mind that they want to learn. Because kids don't, like, listen to rock music like they used to, like when I was a kid. Which, it sounds like I'm saying that as, like, a boomer, like it's a bad thing, but I really don't think it's a bad thing, because it means now that they're generally more receptive to starting with classical, because they don't really know what to do anyways. They usually just want me to pick what they do for everything. But I do start them with classical on purpose, and I do it for a few reasons. One, and this is a pretty important one, there's actually an avenue in academia for the kind of guitar that I'm teaching them. So say that you have a kid and they kind of flunk their way through school, or I mean they can't flunk per se, but they like don't do that great and they're not really passionate about any subjects. They could, if they're studying guitar with me or anyone else who's doing classical, they could theoretically get a scholarship to a university, full ride, and like just study music. And then you might ask, like, I know you guys aren't asking this because you're all dedicated musicians, but like a layman would ask, like, oh, well, what are they going to do with that? And it's just like, I don't know, what are they going to do with that? Like, your life is just going to be generally easier if you have a college degree. Like, I know that people like to argue and say, like, is it worth going to college? Maybe it's not worth going to college to get like a communications degree that you're never going to use. But I mean, even for that, which like communications is like one of those degrees that people like use as like a joke. I bet a person with a communications degree and not a communications degree, like just a high school degree, the person with the degree is gonna like have an easier time in life. They're gonna get like the slightly higher paying job, all that stuff. Their life is just gonna be on a slightly easier difficulty. What you're gonna do with it isn't always apparent, but it's always in the background, and you just always wear it, and it'll just help you generally. Same thing with a music degree. Well, what are you gonna do with a music degree? It's like, oh, I don't know, like you can teach at least, like you have like a specialty that you can use to make money, like that's useful versus being someone who doesn't have that. And especially if your kids are learning classical guitar and they're able to get a full ride, if your teacher like knows how to prepare them for something like that, that's like money well spent for guitar lessons. So I like, that's always going to be the route that I go down. The second thing, this is like a top list now. I think there's only 2 things though. I'll start with a story on this one. After graduating with my music degree, I was like 22 or something, and I had a girlfriend at the time, which I also have one now, but it's a different one. This is the girlfriend I had through college and outside of college a bit. We dated for like 4 years or something like that. On and off, you know how it goes. I graduated. I was living at my dad's. Like, I only stayed for a month, but it was kind of nebulous, like exactly how long I was going to be staying there. And I was doing these things. I was working with my band, and we were like not a performing band. We weren't gigging. We were just recording our album that we like never released. We only ever released one song. I'll shout it out. It's the band was Tin Hat Society. The song is called I'm Dead. You can look it up on Spotify. That's me singing some like hard rock there. Yeah, so enjoy that. That's the song. That's like the one song that we released though. I was doing that. I was playing Saints Row 3 in the basement, and I was getting drunk every day off of my dad's beer. I didn't even buy the beer. So like, that being said, I'm sure that my dad saw that scene and he was getting a little concerned. He didn't really say anything to me actually, which was very nice. But I'm sure he was like, like, hey, is this what after college is for you? Like, is this what you're doing? But I didn't stay that long. I think that's why he didn't say anything. So after that, my girlfriend at the time got a job in North Carolina, which is where I moved to. We lived in a city there that has a lot of homeless people, and she's like sort of a philanthropist type. Like, she likes helping people. So she was working with the homeless people. That was like the job that she had. And while living there, of course, like, I would come to her job sometimes just because I was like an unemployed guitar dude. And in that, I would meet a lot of homeless people. And they had like a church service and like the work that she did. A lot of the members of the church band were just some of the homeless people who just happened to play instruments. And I would play in that church band as well sometimes. Yeah, and I'm telling you that to kind of set up why music is important and why it can be important for a lot of people. And side note, this is also around the time when I started doing my teaching. The first 3 or 4 months were like pretty bleak. It was like, I ain't making any money. I barely have a job. I worked like a warehouse for like a week, and then I worked at a doggy daycare for like a few months, making like $53 a day, working 4 days a week. Like, I was paying my rent with like the stimulus checks. Like, thankfully the rent was pretty low. Things were pretty concerning then. Once I started teaching and I got like my online teaching studio going, things got a lot better for me, and I've just been growing that ever since. And now I'm kind of calling it. I could always grow it more if I ever wanted to shift my focus from YouTube back to that. And I met homeless people who, some of them were actually homeless. Some of them like had like apartments that the service that my girlfriend at the time worked through like provided them or like helped them find. I remember at least one guy in particular who was a keyboard player, and I saw him like, I'm pretty sure at his worst, where he was like on drugs, just like on the street, but he would show up to church and just play. Like I said, like, he was the keyboard player, he was a musician, and he was pretty good. He would do like covers and stuff, and he would like, I don't think he sang, but he would do the covers and like do the melody. I heard him play like Jump, Van Halen one time, and he was like pretty good, like he could jam. I did see like some people get off the streets, like going from homeless to like housed and employed. The story of that is that you get this person, they're homeless, right? So they're coming to this service for help, or the service finds them, and what they have to do now is they can get on this program where they work some like blue collar job, which, like, nothing against blue collar jobs, but they're like difficult, right? Depending on like what kind of work you like to do. And they're usually like long hours with like not that much pay. I would see them, like these guys, they would work like long 8 to 10 hour shifts, and they have such little leeway that if they're like late because they need to like make a call to like get their like new ID because they don't have an ID because they've been homeless for like 5 years, or like they need to like do this other meeting, or just meet with somebody, they are like afraid of losing their job because they cannot be late. And if they lose their job, like everything's just over. It's like catastrophic. They're just like homeless again. Like all the progress they made is just gone, and they're just like off the wagon. Like, it was a really big deal, like them keeping this job that they had to work like 40 hours a week at, and it was just so consuming. And like now, like the whole point of their life is just working, and it just seemed like brutal. It just seemed like this uphill battle that's like the end goal wasn't even worth the fight. It's like, God, like, how do you even like justify this? That was just me looking at it as an outsider. And then I would see this like guy who would play the keys for the church band. Like, he was on the streets, like just playing keyboard every week at the church, and all he did was he just got a couple more church gigs. Like, he got a Sunday gig, I think he had 2 Sunday gigs, he got a Wednesday gig, and then he had a restaurant gig like on Fridays, and he was making like $500 a week. And he was working like 10 hours max a week, and they were like gigs. He was playing music, he like loved it, and he was making more money than the guy working like 40 hours a week at this like job, and he's like afraid of losing it. And the keyboard guy, he ain't afraid of losing anything. He's like, I'm the keyboard guy, I show up, I'm gonna play, and that's it, and I get paid. It's crazy that if you're like down on your luck, like this can literally save your life, like I saw with him. It really seemed like the difference was being somebody who has to fight a constant uphill battle to just be slightly less miserable and like still even miserable, versus like, you want to clean your life up, there's a clear avenue to do it, and then you just do it. And it's like, you don't work that much, you just chill, you hang out, people appreciate you too. It's amazing how much more people like appreciate the keyboard guy over the first guy. Nobody even knows who the first guy is or what he does. Like he works, he's just like working. But the keyboard guy, like, people know him, they like, he entertains them, he like, it's like valued in society. So, you know, it's kind of a dark idea, like your kid being down on their luck and like needing to be saved like that. But I do keep that in mind when I'm teaching. It's just like, hey kid, like, I know you're a kid now, but we don't know where your life's gonna go. And if you have like a sellable skill on the guitar, this could actually save your life. Like, these lessons, like, aren't for nothing. Like, you never know what's gonna happen. Guitar has certainly saved my life. I mean, what would I be doing without guitar? I would have no skills. Like, because music's, like, the only thing I've actually ever cared about or, like, put time into. But I could easily just be somebody who just didn't care about anything and just, like, went through life just, like, playing video games or whatever and just not get good at anything. So, you know, it's important, especially with classical, because there are a lot of things that come with playing classical guitar. Like, you learn how to perform, you become adaptable as a musician. Like, you can read sheet music, you can be a part of, like, an ensemble or whatever. Even if you don't play classical guitar, it makes it a lot easier. Like, if you want to join, like, a church band or something, if you know how music works already, you can figure it out. And it's likely, like, if you've been playing guitar and you play classical guitar well, you can probably, like, strum along with a church band. That's like $100 gig right there. Get a few of those, that can be enough. Yeah, so, you know, it might be dark to kind of think of it in that way, but that is something that I learned, like, when I was in my early 20s. Hopefully this one didn't come off as, like, pretentious. These are just my experiences. I'm just sharing. You'll see that reaction video. I feel like I've been kind of a douchebag in these reaction videos. I am kind of a douchebag, though, so that's something to keep in mind. I left out a lot of details about the story that I told there. Maybe I'll come back and be a little more thorough. I'm just kind of painting you a general image of my experiences here. But I think we can wrap this one up here. So, I want to get to practicing. We have a chaconne to get into. I have some other stuff to get into. Let's go ahead and do that. I'll see you in the piano bench. God, I'm so cold right now. Ugh. Why am I so cold? Here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna start with the chaconne. We're gonna work on the Morel after that. And yeah. Alright, I think I've talked enough. So, I'll see you on the other side. Okay, I think I'm about done for now. Here's what I'm gonna do. Oh yeah, I had to change clothes because I'm so cold right now, and my hands took like an hour to get actually warm. Let me bring you closer. So here's what I feel like doing. I'm gonna do a chaconne update, because this is day 2 of working on the chaconne, so you know, like, why not? trying to go through the Chaconne really methodically. I'd like to just make like one pass through it where I just play everything as I should to make it sound as good as possible, instead of just playing the notes willy-nilly and having a bunch of issues that I need to resolve later. Because I feel like I have everything I need, like technique-wise and knowledge-wise, to play it in a way that will sound good. I'm just like trying to actively solve problems as I go through it. Maybe I'll go through some of them sometime. Alright, well, we can go ahead and wrap things up here. I will see you in the outro. Hey, well, you know, if you made it this far, be sure to subscribe and leave a like. Whoa! Hey, want some shirts? I'm selling shirts. Go get your shirts. New shirts coming soon. I'm still waiting in the mail for those. Oh, of course, guitar lessons. If you want some guitar lessons, feel free to sign up for those. Email in the description. You can contact me there about lessons. And yeah, what else we got? I mean, comment questions. Feel free to leave those. I know we talked a lot today. But if you have any, like, if you want to add to it, feel free to leave that. Or if you have questions, all that stuff. Alright, I'm gonna go hit the gym and, like, have some fun outside. So, I'll see you later.